Hello everyone. Just need to make sure that I am live because I'm doing a new setup today. Hey everyone. I am live, which is good to see. Hope you're good. Hope you're well. Lots of things going off on my YouTube at the minute. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know if you can hear me and see me and stuff like that. I have changed my setup a little bit. As you can see, things are going randomly on my screen at the moment. I think it needs to go through the old system. They're from ages ago. Don't know what's happened here. Maybe I need to change some of this stuff. Bear with me. Good old testing section. So basically I'm using a new stream setup essentially, so it does a bit more funky stuff appearing, but as you can see it's going through all my old stuff. Skip alert. Can I skip through all of them? Because there's loads. But hey, cool. Let me see if I can... I don't even know what's happening. Anyways, hope all is well. All is good. So today is going to be more about analysis of what's happening in the market. So essentially cool stuff, really. That alert thing is doing my head in. Might just knock it off for now. There we go. Knocked it off. Easy. Easy peasy. So how are you doing? Hope you're well. So, who we got? How many we got? We've got 142 people. Slap that like button. But yeah, I have got a totally new setup. It's totally different. It's like, hence why everything just went a bit crazy on the screen there. But we'll see if it works, if it doesn't work or whatever. You know, essentially I just need to click through them all and make sure they don't appear. Should have done that beforehand essentially, but hey ho, you learn. Glad to see you subbed. Also, if you are new to the channel, please do sub. This will be a video as well, so I will be addressing certain things as usual. But yeah, I'm trying to get rid of all these alerts because they've kind of like ruined everything. Ah well, it'll be re. Anyways, shall we talk about the markets? Let me know what you want me to cover. But there's some monstery bullish news regarding just everything at the minute, right? So when we talk about news, it's like crazy. So the one thing that I want to talk about is obviously this. Hello. Oh, got a nice one white again. This is kind of a big deal. So when you start looking at why this is kind of important, I think this has totally been happening for a long time. Not just in the short term, but obviously moving forward. When we start talking about obviously, you know, the realistic expectations of what Ethereum's going to give us, I think there's a lot of frustrated companies out there that have obviously created their own change. You've obviously seen the likes of Polkadot, you've seen all kinds of other stuff happening with other bits and pieces going live in the world. And when we start talking about that, it kind of becomes very, very important to kind of understand that, well, how many of these other companies that are on the world of blockchains, well, not so much the world of blockchains, but actually on the Ethereum side of it, are going to get fed up and go over to Cardano? You know, possibly going to be happening potentially, but we'll see what happens with this. For me, though, looking at everything, I think it's going to get very, very interesting to see how the likes of Cardano and stuff like that does respond to the market. Same as Polkadot, because you got to remember here, market supremacy of obviously Ethereum is key. You know, people are going to go to Ethereum. They just are. It's just usually how it works. So we'll see how it actually goes. I'm still trying to tick off some of these cute things because it's just going to continually go through it. It's going to be quite funny. People will be looking at stuff from ages ago, and all the new ones will be getting swallowed. So yeah, let me know any questions you want me to go through today. Obviously, analysis will be the main agenda more than anything. Chart analysis as well. I'm not really going to look through coins. I'm just going to go through chart analysis. So if it is on TradingView, I will be looking at doing it. once that happens, it'd be pretty cool. I'm nearly at the end of this now. It's amazing how many people have subscribed and chatted and done cool stuff on my channel, which is cool. But yeah, bear with me. I'm bored of ticking these boxes now. This is horrendous. But yeah, you've not missed anything. If you've just joined, you've not missed anything because I'm messing about with a new system right now. But yeah, once it's done, it'd be cool. Oh my god, how many chats have I had? Bear with me. There we go. Right, I'm nearly done now, I think. Oh, probably found loads at the top that I've missed. Oh shit, there's one there. Right, we shouldn't get any more interruptions now, hopefully. And my alert thing should go off like normal. Cool. Right. Other things I want to talk about. Old hard tits over here. I'm not quite sure what is wrong with this website, by the way. See if this works now. Maybe not. Oh my god. Horrendous production. I do apologize. So yeah, Mr. Hard School of Hard Stools. No, he's not. What's it called? Barstool Sports. Sorry, there we go. He's actually went and said, sorry, I was wrong. So he just says, I want to congratulate all Bitcoin people out there. When you are wrong, you are wrong. I fucking can't take Bitcoins up and down, basically. That's the words that he says. Apologies for the language there, but they are the quotage. Obviously, paper hands. He purchased 200,000 worth of BTC on August the 13th after meeting with the Winklevoss twins. If you've actually watched that video, it's a pretty enlightening watch. Told him to basically buy into, obviously, Orchid and Chainlink. And he literally sold his Chainlink at a loss, which is crazy. And obviously he said, claiming he would wait and watch. Yeah, he's obviously waited and watched and obviously lost a massive amount of the pie, which doesn't make any sense. You know, in my, you know, you can't just literally do that. You can't go open on the internet, do a video, do like a vlog video saying, right, I'm going to meet with these two massive influential figures in the crypto space. I'm going to learn how to set up an account. I'm going to learn the basics. And then literally all paper hands over here is literally dumped it at the first thing. Doesn't make sense. Like, this is a stock market investor and he just has all the mentality traits of someone who doesn't lack the knowledge, the information. And you can see here in early February, he lost a whopping 700,000 when GameStop craze took a wrong turn. So it's actually FOMO mentality. Unbelievable, really, when you think about it. It's crazy when you think about it. So yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's just crazy. Let me go over that one. There we go. I can go over this one. So there we go. It's a better setup. I can see what I'm doing now. That's better. Right. Anyways, other news as well. We do need to talk about XRP a little bit. The reason being, it's majorly, in my opinion, undervalued. Obviously, people here are going to be taking the piss. Whatever. It's a lawsuit, whatever. But ultimately, this is kind of the one where, you know, yes, there's a lot of things going on, but for other people's kind of element of opportunity, this could be one. When you look at the BTC chart of XRP, obviously XRP versus BTC, it is, in my opinion, majorly undervalued, and probably is because of the lawsuit. And it could be the trigger that could send things pretty far once that lawsuit is pretty much sorted. That is a really interesting graph. When you think about 753 satoshis, give or take, for the XRP price, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy when you think about it. So we're thinking about obviously where it could go. In the past, when you look at XRP, it's had monster pops. If this similar sort of pop happens again, it's going to be very interesting. Now, other people have opinions on this, whether it's a good coin or a bad coin. In my opinion, if it's a shit coin, it's probably one of the shitter coins you could probably look at that could be looking at a potential move to the upside, because it's going to have interest if that lawsuit is dropped, and we don't know what's going to happen. So, you know, biases aside, it could be very interesting to see how things go. But for me, we'll look at the chart in a bit more detail. It looks pretty interesting. Other things to look at as well is obviously the index charts, the whole exchange levels of everything in the crypto space right now. It's interesting. We've got miners selling, which is fair enough. We've got Obviously, the reserves of the exchange is getting lower and lower as the price goes higher, which is kind of obvious. Then you got the element of grayscale holdings going up and up and up. They've kind of slowed down a little bit recently, but still, over the last few months, they've been adding to their altcoins, which is fair enough. Obviously, MicroStrategy have been doing great leaps to kind of keep that flow going. And most importantly, when you look at all the network value, the Metcalfe law, and stock to flow ratio, it appears that most of the information that we're getting is that people are still accumulating. Every dip's getting bought out, which is what brings us onto the world of obviously some Bitcoin and Ethereum analysis, looking over altcoins today, because I want to try and keep these lives very, very simple to kind of understand that when I do analysis, this is what you kind of should be looking at, but there's all kinds of stuff happening. But the fundamentals are clear. The dollar's dying, quantitative easing, money printing, helicopter money, whatever you want to know it as. It's going to make it a bullish case for asset accumulation with cash reserves. And what we're seeing now is a result of that over the last 6 to 9 months. When you think about it in terms of where I've been in terms of the market, I've been in the market for a number of years now. I didn't think that this would have been happening so quickly. I still thought there would have been a lot of tentative kind of, actions on people. But when we start looking at the facts of MicroStrategy, Grayscale, Paul Tudor, and you got obviously the likes of PayPal and Square and all these companies flying in now, it just gives you a question of where else can it go, which could be very, very interesting. So let's have a look at the market anyway. So let me know what you want me to cover. It'd be nice to see. Fundamentals, we'll look at a few coins as well, if they're any good, if they're any decent. But yeah, let me know. It'd be good to kind of listen to certain things and see what's happening overall. But when we start looking at, all kinds of bits and pieces, there's so much out there. There's so much out there overall, which could be very, very fun. But yeah, let me know if I sound better. Let me know if I look better as well. I don't look as white and ghostish, I don't think. Anyways. People want to talk about Litecoin. They want to talk about Stellar, Elrond, Aave, Cubix. I recall that project. It was a gaming platform or something. Released in like 2018. Bitcoin dominance. I need to look at that. Yeah, well, I'll have a gander. We'll have a look. If I don't come round, sorry, but it's just one of those things. Let's have a little look at the dominance chart first. So for me, the dominance chart is still in a good area. I still feel that this is going to turn around at some point and go lower due to a certain number of things. At the end of the day, the fundamentals of some altcoins are quite low in terms of the BTC price, which could drop this quite severely. I still think that this is going to, as I mentioned, kind of drop. It's been up and around these ranges a lot and then it comes down. But when we think about it, we've had a massive push at the end of the week. We're having a bit of a pullback now. We may well go into a really, really good bullish week, which could be very, very interesting when you start looking at key levels. So when we start thinking about Bitcoin first, I feel that this is now the new level of support, 58,000, which is crazy. We'll see if it holds. Obviously, that's kind of like a breakout. That is now the level of support, the past levels, and the future breakout zone. So when we start looking at where this can go, when we start thinking future levels, if we've got this level here on the daily chart and this is a top, yes, we may well pull back lower. We may well tap into this range and then we may well see it go a little bit higher. And I do feel that we are going to go towards that 67,000, which is roughly what this title is all about, which is the next level. It could go a lot higher. Another reason for this kind of confluence as well is the fact of the reverse fib. When we start looking at this and pull it back, the next 1.68 is at 68,000. So confluence is there in and around those regions. So I don't think we're done yet. I think this could carry on going. Yes, there's all kinds of levels of FOMO, institutional investment coming in. Idiots go, hey, let's just chuck money at it. Well, it's a bull trend, it's a bull market, and all the data is telling us that this is going to continue with strength. If it does pull back, happy days. But actually, in fairness, this can pull back all the way down to like 48,000, 50,000 and still be completely bullish. That's the scariest thing. And people are talking about, oh, but red days, whatever. This is why the likes of, Barstool Sports, Mr. WebGeek, who loves to lose his money, loves to FOMO into stuff. A lot of people will do that. And we all know how things will happen with that. And if that does happen, it could be very, very interesting to see. Fingers crossed, though. you know, anything that is kind of severely dumped will cause a chain reaction with other altcoins, which it usually does. But for me, fundamentals are key. People want it. People are scared of what the government are doing right now, and I think that's very, very important. Other things to look at is obviously Ethereum. Now, this is kind of what I've got as a setup at the moment, that this is now like a level of demand, which could send us up to $2,200, hopefully. You know, I still think that this is a bit suppressed, a bit undervalued. When you look at the BTC pair of this, it's still in a very, very low zone where you compare other coins. Other coins have been on a massive moon mission right now, which is kind of impressive, to be fair. But Ethereum hasn't gone yet. The second biggest capped coin, which if this does go, it will rattle that BTC dominance. It will catch all the FOMO of all the altcoins, and it will get very, very interesting overall. So you've got to be careful with FOMO into positions, but at the same time, you've got to understand the fact that Ethereum hasn't really pushed yet. When we think about the start of the year, it had a nice push. It had a really big pullback. This is a 618 zone, by the way, off this impulse. So it's kind of an important level, which is why it's been holding pretty nicely, and it's got a lot of confluence with previous months in the past. So that could be pretty decent to look at. Overall, we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. But I do think that 2,000 level will be probably breached at some point, maybe even a lot higher as well, to be fair. In other ones, obviously, I saw a few people mention Polkadot. I still think that this is doing incredible. Look at that, it's crazy. So it's still in a nice little bull trend. You know, it's kind of an obvious kind of level. Starting to show a little bit sign of weakness here, but at the same time, it has to pull back. It's had a monstrous run. But I do feel that this, obviously, this is like the retracement level I've kind of got on here. Not the greatest in the world, I will admit. But overall, what's kind of happened here is, you know, when we start looking at, you know, the confluence of this and where it kind of went to. So essentially what this is from this low to this pullback into the 618, and we're still looking to break out maybe up to 41, maybe $46 potentially. We'll see what happens. Again, with the Ethereum chart, not the Bitcoin chart, sorry, still in a nice uptrend, but it is pulling back quite aggressively. We'll see how it holds. But when we start looking at this as well, if we're going from the low to the high here, we've found one level. We may well find this level or even a bit lower, but we'll see what happens overall. But for me, I'd probably go from this level anyways, from around where this like wick is sort of situation, where it's on with that 50% level, which is the previous levels of support and resistance. So that level is important. So we'll see what happens with that. But it depends on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes up, this will probably go down depending on how crazy it is overall. So yeah, there's some of the big cap coins done. I've not looked at Cardano recently. I don't have it on my watch list at the moment. Where is it? Found the level of support there. Nice. So if we look at the 3-day chart, maybe, God, it's a crazy move. You know what makes me laugh? This is the sort of coin that makes me laugh because everyone's like talking about it. It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's crazy. Why is it not going any higher? What? You know, if you were investing this in December at like 11 cents and then you woke up like a few days later and you saw it pumping, which it did in January, started going crazy, then it parabolic. So many people are like, whoa, what's happening here? Obviously the hard fork and stuff like that was obviously going to be a big thing. Not so much hard fork, but the update, so to speak. But looking at this as a retracement level, it's just about in and around where it, in my opinion, should be, where this previous top was. So if you are waiting for an entry on Cardano, maybe you wait a little bit, but we'll see. But yeah, life's good. So many questions. If you are new, by the way, make sure you've subscribed and hit that lovely like button. There's all kinds of stuff on this new streaming thing that I've just got. It's crazy. So much. There's all kinds. If I can figure it out, that is. It's crazy. Properties on that one. Oh, hello. I just don't know if it works. Seems pretty cool, though. I've just talked about Polkadot. I'm not going back over it. BTW Cash. What's BTW Cash? Entry point for Reef. Now. Reef's still in a really good zone. It's still consolidating pretty nicely, as you can kind of allude to. So if anyone's worried about Reef, right, don't be, because it's still consolidating nicely. It's waiting. It's waiting, waiting, waiting. Same for the USD charts. Still nice. It hasn't done anything stupid yet. It hasn't done anything crazy, but it is still forming a little bit of an uptrend. So I'd wait. I'd wait out and see what happens with it. For me, it's fine. Big investment coming in, which is always good to see. Telcoin. It's been around for a while. Wow. Wow. It's a BTC pair. Monster move. Bloody hell. Bloody heck, man. Probably going to pull back quite nicely now of that impulse. Go to the 2-day. Yeah. Happy days. So if you're wondering why I do this, impulse, pull back, start the next move. Impulse. Usually a move retraces a certain amount of percentage. So what we're seeing here is a percentage move coming down. So it's currently down, what, let's just say about 35% maybe from this high. So may well have found this level support here. If I'm looking at the USD chart, obviously, if you're Tether, monster run again. So we've had a pull, an impulse, sorry. We've had a consolidation sideways and then another pop to the upside. So again, looking at it, again, it's had a nice little pop to the upside and it's found a level in and around this region on that day. But ultimately, it's still in and around that 23% level. So that's done a really, really good move. That's an impressive move, if you don't mind me saying. Where it's been literally under freaking Jesus. It's been underwater for ages, sitting there. Look at it. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts, man. That's good. That pretty impressive. I like it when coins just blast off from the you know the doldrums of everything, the doldrums of life, where nothing's really done anything, which is always fun. I'm confused. I'm just pressing buttons now. Sorry, I got a bit lost there. Anyway, other questions. What have we got? What have we got? We've got loads of questions today. Polygon. That's Matic, isn't it? Matic. Oof. Rebrandings, by the way, boys and girls. If you've ever got into a coin that's rebranded, I will highly suggest you get in first because they always, always do well. So again, this is pulled back quite significantly of that wick. Obviously, the likes of Silica's done the same. Very, very huge fundamental news and pressures coming out to certain coins. It's always obviously going to be interesting to see how things go. But for me, I'd wait to buy this. It's done. You know, you got to think as well, time frame and stuff like that. So end of December to like that. Oh wow, that's 31x, man, in a matter of like 3 months. Yeah, this is why people lose money. Obviously you gain money if you buy early, obviously. But what I'm saying is people will ape into stuff where the thing is going to get higher. This is why, you know, nuggets like this guy loses tons of money because you ape into stuff. You gotta be careful. And regardless of whatever you think of the project, people are going to be like jumping out of it, taking profits. It's been crazy, but it is a decent project. I have said it's a good project, but I've also been quite, you know, concerned about it with its jurisdiction, with it being in India. Multiple Indian bans of projects over there, and it is an Indian company. So you got to be careful with stuff like this. But you know, if you're willing to back it and you backed it at a good place, that's crazy. What a move, by the way. So yeah, just again, do your research, make sure you know what you're buying into, and if you understood what this is doing, it has rebranded quite a lot. Its name, its identity, its logo, its niche, everything's changed. It's very, very important to understand that. So make sure you understand it before you go balls deep into it. Let's look at Vechain because obviously people want Vechain. Oof. Tops in. Maybe. Start of that move was from there. The impulse, it pulled back into the 618 and it's obviously went and tapped that level yesterday. So that's pretty good to see that. I didn't even know that happened. Obviously, I've had that on my chat for a few days now. That's good to see. But yeah, fingers crossed with Vechain. I don't actually hold Vechain anymore, but I do rate it a lot. I've always said it's really, really good in alt seasons. I took a lot of profit in September on this, to be fair, and it's still undervalued. So I sold up here somewhere. It's ridiculous how much I got for it. It was so good. I thought, God, yeah, ridiculous. So I was happy to get rid of it at that point. And it obviously shown, but I didn't buy any more down here, which is a bit of a rookie error. But I bought some other good stuff at the time. Moving on though, when you look at this, just to give you an insight, I feel that this is still undervalued. So if I just kind of verify this for you, again, if you're looking at where this is going to be, it's hit resistance twice now. So it's hit it here, 12th of February, and again in and around the start of March, in and around that region. So once it breaks above the 382, we may be looking at 167 Satoshis on the BTC chart, which will give it a nice big pump in the USD charts as well. But be careful, obviously. It is, yes, it's in an uptrend, it's looking good, but it's at resistance level, so maybe it might pull back a little bit more, then it might shoot to the upside. We'll see how it kind of goes. Yes, my things actually do work, so make sure you do subscribe. If you subscribe, you'll get a free shout out on my channel. Yay, it works. But I will say this with alt season, right? You know, we're not talking so much about the alt season. We're talking about moves from Bitcoin into altcoins. We're already seeing big moves. Vechain, for example, the likes of Polygon I've just mentioned. Been some monster moves, and it's hard to kind of comprehend this to people. When things happen, they happen pretty severely, right? When you look at the fundamentals of any coin and you look at where they are, if people with big money, right, and this is just obvious, big money, big profit, what am I going to do with it? Shit, I want to make more Bitcoin. They'll look at these charts and they'll go, right, I'll put Bitcoin into that. When they go, they go. And there's all kinds of coins. Now, a lot of people have been asking about certain coins. There's loads. Obviously, there's something like Atom, because someone just mentioned Atom there. Atom's an interesting project. I do like it a lot. I don't actually hold any of it, but I have always had concerns about it. And this is like, that's all levels from ages ago. It's still majorly undervalued. So we're looking at coins, in my opinion, that are still, when you start looking at the facts here, when you look back in time and you look at the BTC chart, because it's been so dominant, Bitcoin as a whole, because it is essentially the king, there's going to be opportunity for people to basically make some money. And when we look at this, for example, on the BTC chart first before the USD charts, you know, this is coming to a level of support and a demand area. When you start thinking BTC profits, shit, what can I do with my money, my profits, what am I going to do with it? Well, they're going to look and do fundamental research into altcoins and go, well, you know what? A little bit of percentage into there, boom, off we go. That is why coins are just jolting at record levels at the minute, because people have got money to burn. And it's a way of making more Bitcoin. People want Bitcoin. It's a land grab. We all know that, right? So this is why the likes of Vechain does very well and certain coins do very well, because they've got solid fundamentals, essentially. Atom USD, let's have a look at this one as well, just to show you because it's easier. So we've had a monster push. Looks like a bull flag in my opinion. Very, very early on. If this is on a 3-day chart, so it's got quite a lot of like information here. If we're looking at that as a low, that's interesting. We can also look at this area here. But for me, this is looking pretty good. Why is it looking good? On the 3-day chart, it looks kind of obvious that it's got a level spot, but also on the weekly time frame. So you've got this low, pulled back, sorry. It's found a level of support on here. So this is definitely looking like a consolidation range. Daily chart, it's kind of solidifying that as a consolidation. So just definitely keep an eye on this. This could actually go pretty hard. If it does consolidate for a few more days, it may well get the next leg up. If that is the next leg up from here, by the way, maybe $40, maybe $32 on the extensions. But for me, it's looking a bit like a bull flag. You know, it could well just shoot up at some point on the higher time frames. Anyways, it's looking pretty tasty when you start looking at it. You don't need to draw lines for that. But yeah, cool. It's looking all right, isn't it? Essentially. I'm not looking at a video because there's no charts for it, I don't think. If there is, it's that, and there's no real data to go on. It looks like it. So yeah, I'm not going to look at that one. Other ones, we have got this bad boy. Ooh, hello. I like these charts. These are always fun to look at. See where that goes. Is there another data chart on this one now? Have a little look. Ooh, what have we got? I don't think we have we? No. This could be interesting to see. It's not the greatest of information though, I'll be honest with you, because it's relatively new. I'll wait on that one, but it's pulled up. It may well pull back. We'll see what happens. Mimble Wimble. Good old Mimble Wimble on the old blockchain. Oh, what? You know something? I don't even know. You know this B Pro, this B Pro, right? I'll be honest with you. Not a clue what it is. I don't have a clue what this is, right? But I've just seen it do this, and this is a thing. I'm like, what is it? So, forgive me. I'm out of the loop majorly here, and it could be fun. What's happening? Bear with me. Let me just have a little look. Need to get. Bear with me. 2 seconds. Bear with me. I'm having technical difficulties right now. Two seconds. Having a nightmare. One of my screens just vanished. I don't know what's gone wrong here. Bear with me. Oh. Ah, there we go. I'm back now. I think. Am I back? Yes, I am. Sorry about that. One of my main screens just totally went off the scale and off the chart. I don't know what happened there. It went a bit weird. Oh, I'm back. I'm back anyways. So, anyways, back to it. Sorry about that. Went completely mental. So yeah, let me have a little look at this coin, because I've honestly no idea what it is. Like as I have always mentioned, I'm kind of behind with things because everything's so busy in life right now. Well, 20 million market cap, huge volume for the size of it. Crazy moves, absolutely crazy. So what even is it? It's a code base with DeFi, and is that it? It's all the information you've given me, coin market cap. Come on. Ooh, build the future of DeFi gaming. I've honestly, this is totally went under my radar. A lot of things do, I'll be honest with you. Looks pretty decent though, to be fair. Got some huge partnerships there already. Chainlink, Elrond, Exceed Me. That's decent. So yeah, this is like a first exposure to me, this. It's like getting sweets in a candy shop. It's Portuguese, is it? Yeah, that's it. Looks interesting, but in terms of the chart, there's no point me analysing that, because look at it, it's crazy. That is just pure FOMO charting. Maybe found a top here though. I'd wait on that one, see what happens. It's had a monstrous, that has had a ridiculous rise, so just wait and see what happens. If it is fundamental news and developments and stuff, it will probably pull back at some point. Wait for it to stabilize. God, price stabilization is obviously key. Otherwise it goes nuts. Crazy. I don't know why things are going through my donation thing at the moment. Yeah, I need to knock these alerts off. These are doing my head in. Knocked off. Goodbye. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm trying to get myself set up on a decent stream and it's just like rubbish. Anyways, other questions. What we got? Litecoin. Let's have a little look at Litecoin, eh? Litecoin hasn't really done a big push yet. I'm waiting for it to go. That's another one that'll bring down the dominance chart of Bitcoin overall when you start considering the facts of how Litecoin works and stuff. Still, well, I've pulled up quite a bit to be fair. Still in a monster uptrend though. Looking at that, that's a crazy uptrend. So it's still looking all right, but you know when we start thinking about parabolic, scary moves, it's still versus obviously its previous highs and stuff like that, and where Bitcoin is right now, it's still relatively unscathed as you can see. Jesus. So Bitcoin's kicking its ass essentially. So that could be interesting to see where this goes in the future. Just not really got any traction in the Satoshi value. So if you're holding this, you're probably getting absolutely slaughtered in Satoshis right now. When you think about it, crazy. It's like XRP. We'll look at XRP in a minute. Some of the big cap coins are like this. Some of the big cap coins are not like this as well. So when we start thinking about parabolic craziness with the BTC dominance chart going down, people will look at these coins and go, "Oh, you know what? Looks all right." That XRP again. This is the most obvious one. I mentioned at the start of the stream. It's crazy. If you've got a little bit of BTC laying around and you're thinking, you know what, it's a gamble, but if the lawsuit's dropped, this will shoot like a rocket, in my opinion. And you look at that, you're thinking, whoa, that's crazy. Even when you think about the fact of where it's been in November before it all went a bit crappy, that's a long way. And I remember when this was like 10,000 Satoshis, essentially. It was crazy. So that could be really fun to watch and see what happens. But we'll see how it kind of goes, see what it does. For me, though, everyone's entitled to an opinion on it. Not everyone likes it, but for me, when you start thinking about it and you're looking at the risk to reward, even on this move here, there's definitely something in the offing of a 600 Satoshi level order, but I don't know. We'll see. Oh, thanks for the kindness. Let's have a little look at RSR. So I'm quite happy with this setup. So if people have been watching my live streams, we're still not above that golden level that we want to be above, this level here. We touched above it a little bit, but we kind of went below it again. We tapped this zone, which was kind of what I felt would have happened anyways. When you start looking at the confluence between why this level is kind of important, there's one area there. But when you start looking a bit further afield and looking at this kind of like situation here where it's gone from this level, it's pulled all the way back essentially. It's going to be a nightmare to see if we actually do get above this level. It's kind of doing my head in when you start considering the fact of like an impulse. It's a mess. It's a complete not a message chart. But for me, RSR in the BTC chart undervalued. It's failed to get above and hold above that range for such a long time. USD prices though looking pretty good, a nice solid uptrend as you'd kind of like essentially in a coin like this. So I read a stat that this is up like 400,000% or something stupid like that with the start of the bull market essentially in March, April time. It's been on an aggressive, as you can see. You can now look at that. That's ridiculous. That growth. I mean, it was crazy. So it's looking pretty good. Where do I expect it to go? Well, currently we need to get above this level, this previous wick, and then we may well see, not financial advice here, a 10-cent RSR very, very soon. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that'd be cool. That would be cool. Thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. But yeah, all is good. Other coins to look at as well. I mentioned it before. Zilliqa, it's looking pretty good. It's still pretty settled, so obviously we're still in this move. So Impulse, it's pulled all the way back into the 618 level. It blasted absolutely through it. Hit this level, pulled back. This is now a level of support, which you can kind of see, this 16 cents still holding. BTC side of it, again, it's still holding pretty nicely. I took a little bit off the table up here. I had to, I just could not let it go. So I took a little bit of profit off the table. So life is quite good in that department for me. So I'm quite happy with that. But for me, I still think it's majorly undervalued. I did a video on Friday saying that I think that this is going to go to $1 plus, because of the market cap. The market cap is only 2 billion, less than that right now. Look at Ethereum, 200 billion. It's crazy when you think about the differences in that. Unbelievable. Yeah, I do think the altcoins are going to blast off during the week again. I think we're seeing a big, massive push. We're now seeing a pullback. We'll see how it goes, but for me, it looks all right. Let's have a little look at Coty. Coty. This is a one that I missed out on. I like the look at this one. Fundamentals are pretty good, but you can't have them all. I mean, I made my bed with a few coins recently. Let's have a look on the higher time frames in this one, because this is looking a bit nuts. Wow. Dear me. Wrecked. That weekly candle looks horrendous, by the way. Oh, God, look at that. On the nose, 50% currently. If we go down to the 2-day chart, we can see, oh, wow. So, yeah, don't buy into this one just yet. If you're looking at this, or if you're looking to take profits, you should have been always looking to take profits at some point. If you see, just top tip, everyone asks me about profit taking, right? For me, if you see a parabolic growth like this, you should be looking at taking some profits, because this is the thing with crypto, right? And I want to make it clear, right? Let's just say you accumulate this in October time, right? Give or take. And you see a coin that you hold do a 27x pretty much, right? And you're not taking anything off the table, you're not doing it right. You're not doing any investing right. You should always take profit. I did it with Zilliqa, like a tiny bit, just to protect myself. It's just you always, in my opinion, I take profits into Bitcoin to grow that long-term investment. So I have two wallets. I have a Bitcoin I'll never sell wallet, and a Bitcoin that is kind of hot, where I can move it around and I can flood it around and push it all over the place. You've got to be very, very careful with what you do with your Bitcoin. And for me, if you're looking at something like this and it's like made you a massive chunk of money, it's going to get very, very interesting. I'm not looking at cubics. Can you stop asking me? But yeah, it gets very, very interesting very, very quickly. Oh my God, this chat's going too fast. Bear with me. There we go. Just muting people. Anyways, but yeah, we're profit taking. If you see something like this, like we're seeing, obviously the likes of Theta do the same sort of thing. Monster moves, like absolutely. Like if you've been in this, right, and this is like everyone wants to know about profit taking, right? It's the most subjective thing. It's like anything, right? It's like anything that's sort of human nature is subjective, right? When you look at the likes of this, right? It's had a massive impulse. It pulled back. It hit a level of demand essentially. But when you're looking at how it kind of hits these extensions, it's pretty cool, right? Yeah, but you've got to kind of know where things are. You know, you've got to kind of look up where will price discovery potentially stop. You don't know. The only thing you can do is look at the Fibonacci and go, well, maybe this is an extension point potentially of the ratio of that. I don't know. Maybe other people might look to sell. This is crazy. This is a monumental move. And even if you've been, say, if you've been accumulating Theta for ages in the bear market, and you're thinking, well, this is pretty cool, and it does a monster move, right? That first move alone is pretty big. You can take a little bit off the table there. There's nothing wrong with taking a little few percentages off the table, and it keeps going. It just keeps on going. It keeps on going. And you can see that you don't have to sell all your bag. You just sell a tiny bit. Like, just remove some of your equity just to give you something to look at. Cool. Would I take profit at the current price of DOT? No, because it's not pumped yet. It's still undervalued in my opinion. Yeah, obviously I bought quite early on. I'm quite happy with my purchase order, but I'm staking it. I'm making quite a lot of daily, well, not so much daily income, but it's a good income essentially from the staking rewards essentially on my side. But what's obviously apparent with me, you got to look at where things are. If this blasted up to 60, 70, $80 very, very quickly, I probably would be taking a little bit off the table, but not much because I rate it a lot. Whereas altcoins are a lot lower in price in terms of market cap and volatility. That's where it gets interesting. Where Polkadot, it's a higher cap coin. It's not as bad. Whereas you look at some of the other coins where they drop like 40-50% in a week. It's like, oh God, you got to be careful of those ones, in my opinion anyways. Let's have a look at Kusama. Another hold of mine, which is looking pretty good. Again, I still think this is undervalued. This is what, roughly quite low in market cap versus obviously Polkadot. Parachain, the whole auctions are going live on this very, very soon. It gets interesting. It's going to get very interesting. So I've got a small amount of Kusama, not much. Just have been accumulating a little position to kind of flip it back into Bitcoin essentially, but it's pretty good. You could put more money into DOT. It's up to you. I mean, for me, when I look at Polkadot, I still think it hasn't really popped off yet. It's moved, don't get me wrong, but it hasn't really. When we start looking and comparing to where it is, the market cap of Polkadot is, in my opinion, relatively low without the whole market, pandemonium yet. 33 billion market cap, no parachain auctions yet, no real live product fully out on it yet other than Kusama. Could get very interesting if that does flip off, and it will. We've seen what happened with the likes of the Binance chain essentially when that got live. That got very, very interesting. So yeah, could get very, very fun. Any suggestion for hold? Bitcoin. Price prediction of RSR, it depends on the mainnet and the rollout in Venezuela and stuff like that. There's a lot of things happening with RSR that are kind of private as well. No one's told any kind of. There's no real inkling of what the mainnet's going to be on in terms of when and where and how and stuff like that. So when that is kind of released, it might well get some interest. How do I determine profit targets? I use the Fibonacci tool. I use extension levels. 1.68 is 1, 1.27, 0.618, all those. They work pretty well. But yeah, life is pretty cool. I just don't know why my thing's not working. My little alert box. It's broken. Really irritating. Unless there's something in here that I've broken. Pluton. Pluton's going to have a good year. Definitely going to have a good year. Should we have a little look at Pluton? So if you don't know this is like a card currency that's relatively like under the radar. So when you start talking about obviously crypto.com, what's the other ones? I've forgotten. Utrust and stuff like that, right? This is like not even 10 market cap yet. 10 million, sorry. Very, very low and valued, but a lot of the coins that they've got are pretty much in reserve for rewards. So as you can see here, it's got a total supply and a maximum supply as well. Very, very low in circulating supply. So for me, it's all right. It's not great in terms of its functionality is not fully live yet, but that could obviously give you an opportunity to do well in a long-term asset. But for me, I only hold a small amount, but because I use a card, I get rewarded in it, so it's not too bad. It's pretty good in that way, anyways. I'm getting my things through again. Oh, stop it. Meh. I don't know why my things keeps breaking my mini feed. It really irritates me. Anyways, other questions. It's good to see it's up 100% though. DeFi indexes, something quite interesting about that, because when you look at the DeFi world, obviously it's, you can kind of allude to how, bear with me, if I can get this working. Is that going to work? Of course it's not. Oh. Where is it? They've got something. CoinMarketCap are just going to amalgamate into one big bloody website soon. I don't even know where it is. There was a thing for like DeFi, but it kind of had like the overall market cap on here as well. I think they've removed it. But yeah, this is getting bigger and bigger. And obviously it's getting... there we go. 87 billion. So it's down 17% over the last few days. It's quite scary. So it's quite volatile. But when you look at the fact of like money locked up and stuff like that, things can get really, really interesting. Can Vechain get to $10? Check the market cap. I don't know. Probably not. I'm pretty sure that's going to be pretty freaking mental. So what's the current market cap of 7 cents, right? The market cap will be about, what, 4 billion? If it works. Come on, computer. Coin market cap broke. Oh my days. There we go. Wow. So you think $10? So 70 cents, give or take, or even 66 cents would be 40 billion. So we're talking about a 500, 600 billion dollar asset as Vechain. I think that'll be interesting. What are you thinking about Zilliqa? I think personally with Zilliqa, I think it's majorly undervalued. I think it's going to get bigger and better. They're going to open up open finance too, so DeFi. That's going to be good. It's going to be very, very good for the industry because it's scalable, it's cheap, it's good. You know, it's going to be cheaper than anything on the market essentially with the way it works. So the fees are ridiculous. It's got a really good token model, which we all know about. So for me, when I look at Zilliqa and I see it all the way down here, which it baffles me that it's so low. It's like 1.8 billion. It's gonna do very, very well, I think. So that's gonna be pretty cool. But again, you know, you can't really predict the future in terms of who's gonna adopt what and what's gonna happen. Obviously, I like my Polkadot and stuff like that, and I don't think it'll get to that league, but I see Zilliqa being a much higher market cap versus what's above it. There's a lot of shite above it, basically, which, yeah, one of those things. But yeah, it could be fun. Should we have a little look at Lit? Never really looked at this much though, but I do know it's doing very, very well. It's had a monstrous growth. Obviously, it's been backed pretty heavily as well. Obviously, likes of Binance and board and stuff, but it's just one of those things. It's like, is it going to do well or not? It's such a little nichey sort of area. User-centric world blockchain, obviously users and stuff. It's a big, massive hurdle to get over users, in my opinion, at the minute. It's relatively untested. It's new. So that could be interesting to see identification, see how it goes. But obviously the Civic didn't really do very, very well, did it? So this could be better, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. It's one of those ones that, you know, it's a smaller niche that people aren't really looking at yet, but they could do very, very well. But yeah, my opinion on certain blockchains is hype based, really. In a bull run, you got to follow the hype. You got to follow the interest. Obviously, you could have the world's greatest product in the world, but if no one's interested, it's one of those. Look at NFTs at the minute. NFTs are going nuts. DeFi is going crazy-ish, but not as crazy as it was. But then you got supply chain like Vechain just sitting there, which fundamentals are great and amazing, but price hasn't really moved yet. So that's always interesting. The Luna ecosystem's decent. I'm a bit bitter about Luna, I'll be honest with you. I was going to buy it 30 cents, but I decided, no, I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to buy something else. And that buy, obviously, is going to bite me in the ass. It's ridiculous how much this is growing. Absolutely gutted I've not got this. Not going to lie. Absolutely fantastic. And I can see where this is going to go with obviously the likes of RSR and stuff like that. When you start looking at how this works and why it's kind of important, I see RSR doing a similar sort of growth to this, and I think this is brilliant. Very, very good. A little bit sad now. Never mind, eh? Top picks for coins not in the top 100? Don't know. You know something? I've not ventured into the top 100 for a long... out of the top 100 in a long time, sorry. Shall we have a look? If it works, that is, because this is a heap of shit, this website. We'll go to page 2. Yeah, you're saying I missed out, but I got RSR really low value. I got Polkadot pretty low. I got Zilliqa below a cent. I had Voyager at ridiculously low levels. I had Uterus at really low levels. I had Vechain from a low level. Made pretty good money, to be fair. Been holding Pluton token from $3, which is now what, 12 or something. It's not even moved yet. Still 9 million market cap. I was the one that bloody told everyone about Avido on one of my videos that popped and then it moved from there. Just one of those things, isn't it? But yeah, you can't. I go for the mentality that I go for in assets is, buy quantity. Buy quantity of quality. So what I buy and invest in, I don't just buy little bits. I buy big. I lump pretty hard. But when you start diluting how many tokens you've got, you then start getting issues with fees and storage and most importantly, just keeping an eye on things. And when you're not keeping an eye on things, it makes life hard. So when you think about it, like if you've got like 10 plus altcoins and you've got to keep an eye on each one, what they're doing, it makes it very, very hard. So you've got to be very, very careful. But for me, pretty good. So obviously Reef's a good one in this. I think Reef's undervalued. Oh my God. There's some interesting tokens around here. I can't believe how much Telcoin's growing. That's ridiculous. Finally. Oasis, Rose. I like Rose quite a lot. Again, might be on my list. Poles. I like Poles a lot. Utrust. I've had Utrust. I had Utrust when it was like 2 cents and I sold it not too long ago. What else have we got? There's loads. It's quite a lot on here, That's the thing. There's so many out there. There's so many out there. If we're talking Polkadot ecosystem, there's 2 that I like most. Obviously, I like Kusama. I like Reef, obviously. And the one that's kind of like the dark horse for me, and I think it's very, very interesting, is this. I think this is interesting. If you've not checked out Bluezilla yet, check it out. It looks very interesting, as you can kind of see. That could be interesting, but we'll see. We'll see how that one goes. There's a few out there that are pretty damn decent in all fairness, but when you start thinking about throughput databases, that could be interesting. There's loads out there. But yeah, it's one of those things. I'm going to be leaving soon, by the way, just to let you know. Getting towards an hour. I do appreciate everyone that's turned up. Make sure, though, you have slapped that like button and subscribed. Hit the bell button as well so you don't miss any of our lives. Today is a bit more of a dummy one, really, because I'm testing out a new system that hasn't really worked very well because it's not really doing what I want it to do, which is not good. Hopefully try and get some stuff sorted on that. Basically, the aim was to try and get some stuff so whenever people did stuff that it would kind of show up on the screen and do certain stuff, but it hasn't really worked out as I would have liked it to, which is kind of irritating. I just don't know if it'll work. Let's see if that one works. Do I think Link will do well? Yes, I do. I think Chainlink's undervalued. I did mention at the start of the year that it wouldn't be as parabolic as last year because obviously it went on an amazing run. But if you're talking about like 3 figures here, it's only another 4x from here pretty much. So when we consider how well it did in the previous run from like below like $1 up to like $20 very, very quickly, could be fun. Are we going to work here? Nope. Yeah, I've basically broken my system here. It's just doing random stuff. Random. I've broken it. Absolutely broken it. I've just looked at Cotty. But yeah, I'm going to leave now. I do appreciate everyone coming. Yes, today has been a bit distorted, a bit random. Um, but ultimately, there's not much really going on in the market other than wait and see what happens. I think overall, I think next week will be probably another good week. We've obviously had a nice little push towards the end of the week, and we're having a normal Sunday here where it's pulled back, but not really that aggressive, like compared to the last few weeks, essentially. The last few weeks have been pretty severe. When you wake up during the night, it's like, oh God. But we're looking here at a $1.8 trillion market cap. This is one of the highest. In my portfolio over the last few weeks has been at ridiculously high levels, which has obviously been very, very good. Probably most people who've been in the market are probably the same sort of situation. The only downside is obviously the gas fees are still ridiculous. I still think Ethereum has a lot more to give, and I think a lot more people will be looking elsewhere outside of that top 10, top 20 essentially for assets to accumulate. We're already seeing investment in the likes of Reef and Zilliqa, other companies that are getting investment from bigger entities right now, which is also very, very important. So, yeah, I shall speak to you all very, very soon, and hopefully next time I have a